Alright, this is week 1 to until week 6 for programming assignment, for all the assignment 3001 and section is 541. Alright, we will be starting from week 2 because in week 1 there was no assignment there. So I'll be starting from week 2. I'll give you full explanation plus with the practical examination solutions, and I'll explain them how I solve it in the examination room. Alright, let's start from week 2. So first of all, we have to see the question. So let's see. Let's go to week 2 and see. So I'll be not going to this this text and stuff, but I'll be going to the assignment directly so you can learn the basic how to do things. But it's good that if you read this, then you will know much better. But in assignment 2, I'll explain how things work and it will be more easy for you guys. So first of all, the assignment asks, write a Python code to take 2 integers. So that being said, 2 integers means you need 2 input. So I'll show you the code here. So input is for this code line, this one is for asking user to enter something. So let's say that if I have like this, so this is Python shell, all right? You can get this by typing Python. So if I say input, just input, and I click enter, that means that it will have a blank thing. It will not have this 3 shell, 3 prompt, I mean. So in here you can type anything you want, 1 2 3, you see, but all the number will keep as a string, you see right here. So this will be in the 2 quotation string, and it will be this all letter will be in string. But if you do like, so if you want to ask something with a question, you do input and enter a name, right? So if you do enter a name, as you can see here, it says enter a name, and then you can type your name right here, right? If I click backspace, delete, I cannot delete this, you see, because it's the question, enter a name. So you can type like Jan Kun Tong, right? You can type the name and it will give a string. This is a string. If you print anything, like if you print like this is a string. If you get output inside like this, or like in 2 quotation, this is string. Except if you get output like 1 2 3 like this is integer. But if this 1 2 3 is inside this, it is a string. So you have to know what is integer, what is string, all right? So now they said that they want to take 2 integer input. So that means you don't want string. As I mentioned before, input just take as a string. So you want it as an integer because they said to get they said to get 2 integer input. So that means that the code would be input wrapped with integer. So this will do like this. So if I say input, if I say int mean integer, and if I do input enter a name, right? And if I enter like JAN, it's invalid, it's not integer. Integer is number. So if I did enter a name and I put 1 2 3, right? I get 1 2 3 back. That's valid. If I put this 1 2 3 A, invalid because A is not integer. So this question should be not enter a name, enter a number, right? And you enter a number. So you put 1 2 3 4, anything right there. You cannot put special characters. See, special character is not integer. So you can just put only integers. So that being said, that now you know how to get 2 integer from a user. From a user means user type something to the keyboard, and you get the user assigned value, so you can get the thing that you want to compute, right? So they said take 2 integer input, hour and minutes. So now you just So now you can know that you need two inputs, right? So you write you can ask them enter an hour and enter a minute, right? So this is asking two inputs, these two lines. So next, so as you can see, two integer input, hour and minutes. That means you have to keep the information of the user in the variable name hours and minutes. So I have a variable name hour and minute, right? So this first time I type it, the number will save in hour. The second time I type, the number will save in minute. If you don't understand what I'm saying right now, please go back, rewind and watch it again, and it will make sense slowly. Or you can run the code by using debugger. I'll explain you how to use debugger too, so don't worry about that. Alright, so hour and minute. Now you have hours and minutes to ask the user. So let's run this program. If you have VS Code, you can click on the play button right up here, and you can see that it prompts that enter an hour. So let's say I enter 2 hours, right? And minutes. So let's say I enter 60 minutes, right? So it works, right? Because it's integer, because I wrap it with int. But how about if I do ASD, right? Error. It is not a number, right? So that means that these two things takes number. So whenever you see input, that means that it will ask 2 times. So it will ask 1 time and 1 time. But it will ask this information. It will ask this 1 time. It will ask this 1 time, right? Okay. So now you know how to take 2 integers input and save it as a variable, right? Okay. So I'll show you this. So if I print HRS and min, right? If I print this, and if I enter let's say 30 and 40, right? I get 30 and 40 back. Ignore this line. Just ignore this first. Don't worry about this. But you can see that this is 30 and 40. You see, because I print hours. So information I type here. So assume this location is this one. You see. So this one will be 30, and 30 will be saved in HRS. And if I print HRS, it will be 30, right? Same with min. If this is 40, right? And this line, this code will be 40. So and 40 will go to min, and if I print min, it will be 40. So you get 30 and 40. So this is how you save a variable, how you assign to a variable and use the variable, right? So that means that if you have the number, you have these two number, you can multiply it, you can do some addition with it, minus it, or divide it, or you can find an angle, you can do anything with this number, right? Okay. So I will move this time. So now you know what is hour and minute. What hour and minute contain. It contains a number that you entered right here, right? Okay, so now, and store it, namely hours and minutes. So you see 2 variables. These are called variables. These are variables, alright? These are variables. Okay. Hour and minute. So this is variable hours, this is variable minute. The program will print the total time in minute. So the program will put total time in minute. So that means that you have hour, but you want everything in minutes, right? So I'll give you some time to think about it. If you want everything in minutes, that means you have to convert hours to minutes, right? Okay, so assign the file name to be this, alright? You just file name, right? And expect output is this. So you can see that they enter 2 hours and enter 20 minutes. So let's use the calculator real quick right here. So if 2 into 60, so if you want to change hour to minutes, you have to into 60, right? This is basic math. So you get 120, and 120 plus 20, 120 is this 20 plus 20 is 140, right? Because this is minutes and you want minutes, so you have to convert it again, because minutes is minutes, right? But hour and minutes is different. So the formula is you take hour. So I will write it down in the note for you. Let's say that let's see. Okay, so the formula is hour multiply 60, right? Hour multiply 60 to get minute, and plus the minute, minute, right? So because minute is all minute already, and hour is not minute, so this will convert a minute and you plus the minute that you entered, so you get the total. So now you have to write this as a code, right? So now in Visual Studio, so this is the formula, you see that here, hour into 60 plus min, so time in minute, right? So I explained this, all right? And then you print the time in minutes. So if you calculate this, the value will put into variable name time in minute. So this will contain a number, and you print with this. You know f string, right? F string is when you want to use the variable inside a string when you want to print. So you use f quotation and you print the text you want to print like this. This text will print, and the variable will be different thing. So it will be like 60, 40, 120, 240, but it depends on what thing you enter up here. So how to use a debugger, right? So when you use a debugger, you just put your mouse, hover to this line, hover to the red dot right here, and you can click on it. So you can just click on the first line, and on the right hand side you can just select the arrow down button near the play button, and run a debugger Python file, right? Click on this. So this, you will get this one. All right, so now you can click this button to go to step in your code. So it's line by line, click. So they said, so this line means that enter hour. Okay, I enter number 2, enter. All right, so hours is 2. You can see here hour is 2, right? So I told you this is a variable, so hour is 2. So next we click, okay, enter a minute. So this line asks you a minute. So minute is 20, right? What was the question? Minute was 20. Okay. All right, so minute is 20. All right, done. And it will not ask again because you cannot see input code, right? You don't see input here, so it will not ask you again. So now, so what was hour earlier? Hour was 2. 2 multiplied 60 is 120, right? So this you will get 120. 120 plus min, what was min? 20, right? Min was 20, right? Because I entered 20 here. So 120 plus 20 is 140. So when you do this calculation, you get 140, right? So times equal 140. So variable time in minutes will be 140. So you print this thing, and this will be 140, right? Because it's right here, 140. And if you print, you get the total time is 140 minutes. All right, this is simple program, not that complicated. If you don't understand, you can ask me on the comment. I'll be answering them shortly. And yeah, or if you have my Microsoft team, or if you know me personally, you can message me. All right, and this is the same thing for this. So if you do if you run this again, if I enter 10, right, 10 and 21, right, you get 620. So it's just multiply, just the same formula, right? But when you run the code, you try to put like the sample that they give. So first time you put 2 and 20, 10 and 21, you know, you try test your code, or like what if the output is wrong, you know. All right, so let's move on to second question. The second question asks you, write a code to take one integer input and store it in variable. So one integer input. So now you know that if it asks you integer input, that means that you have to write this code, int input and this one, right? So now you know, okay, this will be input. You have to ask user, okay, and store it in variable, namely number. Okay, now you know that this is variable. You want to store this in a variable. Okay, so now you want to have number. All right, so you have this code and a number. So let me open the file real quick, number 2. Okay, so you see, you ask this and you save it in number. All right, and when you read the question, try to do line by line. They give you a hint, you see, they give you a hint here. So if you read carefully, you will know what the hints. The entered number has to be 3-digit number. All right, so, and then the program prints out the new number, which is first and last number are swapped. So you can see here the first and last number are swapped, right? All right, so this is a little bit complicated, but it's easy to understand. I'll explain to you. So that means that So you can see the sample here. So the thing they ask is enter a 3-digit number, right? So you put this thing right here, enter the 3-digit number, so that it asks user this thing, right? Okay, so next, then you can see, then you enter 103 and the new number is 301. So basically you're flipping the last one, right? You're just flipping the last one. So it means that you are getting the 3 to become front and getting the 1 to go back. So with this thing it's the same. You get 3 to go front and 4 at the back. So 3 at the front and 4 at the back. The 5 will stay the same and the 0 will stay the same. Okay. So now in this it's a little bit complicated, but bear with me. So right, I'll explain this. Okay, so now you ask the user input, right? Run this code. Okay, you enter 103, you enter. So you make a variable equals 0. So you may ask me why you make reverse number equals 0, so that I can keep track of the reverse numbers that I'm doing. All right, so you will see why I'm using this. Okay, so I'm just declaring this right here, because in Python code, if you don't declare a variable up here, you cannot use it, right? So you have to declare something up there, right? Okay, so I made a reverse number equals 0, right? Okay, so now I have 2 variables, right? Now I have 2 variables. So if I don't run this code, I have no variable, right? But I have 2 variables now, which is number and reverse numbers. 0. So number is 103, which is I entered here, and reverse number is 0 equals to 0. Okay, so while number greater than 0, so this is while loop. While loop means you run to the loop. I think most of you understand what is while loop, right? So while loop means if this condition is true, it will run this code, right? If this condition is false, it will not run this code. So if this is false, it will run this code, and if it's true, it will run this code. All right, and it will go back and so on and so forth. So number, what was the number? Number was 103. 103 is greater than 0, right? Okay, so that means it's true. It's greater than 0. It's true. So when I said if it's true, you run this code, right? So that means this yellow thing will go down below, right? Okay, so now you have number is 103 and shmod 10. So I'll explain what is shmod mean. The percent sign. That means that you take the last digit of any number. So let's say if I do 1, 2, 3 and I do shmod 10, it means I take the number 3, right? The remainder 3. Because if I do 1, 2, 3 divided by 10, I get 12.3, right? You see? 12.3. So if I do 124 divided by 10, I get 12.4, right? So this percent sign takes the decimal point. All right. So if I do 124 shmod 10, so the output will be 4 because it will take the decimal, right? If I do 123 shmod 10, it will be 3 because it takes a decimal, right? So that means that if you enter 1, so that means that if you enter 103 shmod 10, it will take 3, right? Okay, so now you have the last value, right? Now you have the last value because you want to swap the first and the last, right? So now you have the last value. So number shmod 10 will get 3, and you put the number 3 in the variable name remainder. So now the remainder would be 3, right? Okay, you got a last number. Now you have to figure out a way to get the first number, right? So the reverse number, so basically it's reversing every digit, right? But the zeros, the middle numbers stay the same. So you have the last and the first and the last, you reverse it, and the middle stay the same. Or you can just reverse this here, put this here. So you can do like this. So you can do like 103, right? You can do so you get the 3 first, you get 0 and then 1, right? To reverse it. So it's the same thing, but the middle doesn't change. So reverse number was 0, right? Up here, you see, reverse number is 0. So this is 0, okay? And as a reverse number, so reverse number is 0. Reverse number into 10. So 0 into 10 is 0, right? And so 0 plus remainder. Remainder was 3. We just calculate up here, right? Remainder was 3. So 0 plus 3 is 3. So now the reverse number that I want is 3, right? Because this is, you see, this reverse number is 0 up here. And 0 into 10 is 0. And 0 plus remainder is 3. Remainder is 3. So the reverse number will be 3. Okay, the reverse is 3 now. You see? Just now it was 0, right? Before, now it's 3 because I assign it. And later you do number equals number divided by 10. So what does this mean? So if you do 103 double slash 10, you just get 10, right? But if you do 103 divided by 10, you get 0.3. So that means this, if you have two slash, you don't want the decimal point. You don't want it. You ignore this thing. You know what I mean? So this is like just ignoring the decimal point. 2 slash mean you don't want the decimal point. 1 slash is you want the full calculation. So if I do 21 divided by 2, right, you get 0.5. But if I do 21 divide by 2, you get just 10. You don't want the decimal. All right. So now you have 103 divide 10. So that means that this calculation will get 10. So number will be 10. Okay, so now the number is 10. So you go to the loop again, right? So now you have the number, but the reverse number is 3. So 10 is greater than 0, right? If 10 is greater than 0, it's true. So you run the loop again. So you go and 10 small 10 is 1, right? And then you slowly increment again and again. And then you get the reverse number, which is 301. This is a little bit complicated, but I would suggest you to rewatch my video again if you don't understand. But basically you are just doing in a loop and a loop and a loop and a loop to get to reverse a number. And then finally you just print the number, because this keeps track of all the numbers, right? This one. Alright, so let's move to week number 3. If you don't understand this problem that I just explained, it's a little bit hard for beginner, but you can comment down below, then I'll help you personally, okay? So don't worry about it. If you don't understand, you can just comment. I'll explain you more clearly. This one is a little bit hard and a little bit complicated for new programmers. All right, so let's go to week. So this is okay. Let's go to number 3. Question number 3. All right, write a program that asks a user. Okay, so now you know that you need an input if it's asks the user, right? If it's asks user, okay. For an area size in square meter, float number. So float number is you have decimal point. This is integer. This one is the whole number integer. But if you have a 0.31, you need float. Okay, this is just a Python rule. The program then prints the area of a square inch, square feet, and square kilometer. Right. So this is just easy. This is just basic math. So you ask the user. So you don't put int anymore, because you wanna put decimal point, right? Decimal point right here. So it will be something like let's say that you put like 15500.31. So if you put this number. So if I do like int enter a number, right? And I ask the user to input. So this, and if I enter this number with a decimal point, it will error out, because this is not a whole number. Integer just take the whole number without the decimal point. But if I rewrite this again, and if I want a decimal point, if I want to enter decimal point, you put float in the front. So now if I enter the same number 155,000.31, it doesn't error out, it works, right? So float with float you can put decimal points, with int you cannot put decimal point. So now you can see that these contain decimal points, right? So you need float. So now question number 3. So float input, enter an area size of square meters. So that means that you want a decimal point. So to change square meter to square inch, you multiply with this number. All right, this is just math. If you search in the Google, so you search square meter to square inch, you see it's a formula. For explanation, you multiply area by 1150. Okay, so it's just a formula, like basic formula. So you multiply the number. So the number you enter 100. So let's run this thing again. So if you enter 100, so 100 multiply this will be some number, which is this one. And if 100 multiply this, so to change square meter to square feet, you multiply with this number. If you want to change square meter to square kilometer, you divide it by this number, and you just print the output, and the result is here, right? So if you put 100, you get 1150, 1776, and so let's see my output. Same thing, right? All right, so this is just simple, right? Just basic math. Okay. And for this question, if you don't understand, you can ask me. This is fairly simple, so I think most of you understand. All right, so this is first video about week 2. I'll be doing week 3 our next video. So I'll put a link somewhere on this screen for week 3, so you can just click. I'll make separate for week 2, week 3, week 4, week 5, week 6. All right, so understand this first before you move on the week 3 that I'm doing after this. So understand this, what is variable, try to Google search what is variable, what is f string. This is called f string, format string. And what is int, what is input. Try to Google everything. If you don't understand something, Google first. If you don't understand, you can ask me. What is double slash, what is chmod, what is while loop, and what is print, if you don't know print, what is float. So Google this first. Try to understand this 3 assignment first. If you understand this, it will be easy for you to understand week 3, week 4, week 5, week 6. All right, hope you understand this video, and if you have any question, leave the comment down below. And yeah,